Have you ever noticed how your friends start disappearing right after you become more serious about your deen? When you finally start praying 5 times a day? When you begin dressing more modestly? That's not coincidence, it's confirmation. What I'm about to reveal about your isolation is something no one is talking about. 2 years ago, I sat alone in my apartment on Eid. My phone was silent. No invitations, no messages. My family lived overseas, and my friends, the ones I used to celebrate everything with, had slowly drifted away since I started practicing more seriously. Picture this. You start waking up for Fajr consistently. You begin attending the masjid regularly. You're listening to Quran daily. You're finally feeling connected to Allah. And then it hits you. The empty weekends, the group chats that go silent, the invitations that stop coming, the family members who suddenly walk on eggshells around you. I remember scrolling through Instagram, seeing my old friends gathered at a restaurant I used to frequent. They hadn't even told me they were meeting. The feeling of exclusion was overwhelming. How can this path that's bringing me closer to Allah be pushing me further from everyone I love? I wondered. Sound familiar? Most speakers will tell you to just be patient, find Muslim friends, and focus on your relationship with Allah. And yes, those things help, but they're treating symptoms without addressing the deeper truth. Here's what they're not telling you. This isolation isn't happening despite your spiritual growth. It's happening because of it. The Quran tells us in Surah Al-Ankabut 29:2, do people think they will be left alone after saying, "We believe," without being tested? Think about that. The test isn't just about personal struggles, it's about social bonds being strained and broken. It's like how a rocket must shed its initial stages to reach higher altitudes. Your increased loneliness isn't random. It's part of your spiritual ascension. When Prophet Ibrahim confronted his father and community about their idolatry, he wasn't just challenging their beliefs, he was accepting the isolation that would follow. The Quran records his words, "I will leave you and what you invoke besides Allah." He chose truth over social belonging, and the Quran calls him a nation unto himself. The Quran doesn't hide these stories of isolation, it highlights them. Why? Because Allah knew we would need them. He knew that in 2025, in a world where social connection is our new currency, we would need to know that even the best of humanity faced this test of loneliness. The first truth no one tells you: spiritual growth changes your entire social frequency. As your spiritual clarity increases, you become more sensitive to environments, conversations, and activities that clash with your evolving values. It's not that your friends are worse, it's that you're perceiving the misalignment more clearly. This heightened awareness isn't a flaw in your faith, it's a feature of your awakening. Last Ramadan, I received a message from a sister that broke my heart. "I feel completely alone," she wrote. "My family thinks I'm judging them. My old friends stopped calling, and I don't feel connected to the born Muslims at my masjid. I'm starting to wonder if this loneliness is worth it." This isolation is more dangerous than the temptations themselves. We're navigating a major life transition in silence because we fear judgment from both sides. Our old circles think we've become extreme, while established religious communities sometimes treat us like we're not doing enough. Think about it. We live in the most connected era in human history. You can video call someone across the world instantly. Yet many of us are experiencing the deepest loneliness of our lives precisely when our faith is strengthening. The Prophet, peace be upon him, warned about the times when holding to your religion would be like holding on to hot coals. What burns isn't always persecution. Sometimes it's the searing pain of watching relationships cool and dissolve. Now, here's what transformed my understanding completely, and it might shock you. The greater your potential impact, the greater your isolation test. Those who are destined to build bridges between worlds must first experience the pain of belonging to neither. The ones with the capacity to guide others must first navigate the wilderness alone. Your isolation isn't evidence of your failure. It's confirmation of your calling in this spiritual journey. Now we come to something extremely personal, your ungrieved losses. Notice when the loneliness hits hardest. Is it during holidays, family gatherings, late at night scrolling through social media? These aren't just moments of missing people. They're moments of mourning a life that no longer exists. Feel the weight of those moments, that heaviness in your chest, that emptiness where connection used to be. Your loneliness often peaks not randomly, but during times that highlight what you've had to leave behind. In our sharing-focused age, these losses are magnified as you watch others continue in the life you've outgrown. The remedy isn't denying the grief, it's acknowledging it and bringing it to Allah. The fourth truth is perhaps the hardest to accept. Your old relationships were based on who you were, not who you're becoming. Many of us expect our existing friendships to simply adapt to our dramatic spiritual transformation. I certainly did. But think about it. Those relationships were formed around shared activities, values, and worldviews that you're now changing. Let me be honest. 2 years into my spiritual journey, only 2 friends from my before life remained close. Not because they're Muslim, they're not, but because our connection was deep enough to transcend lifestyle changes. Think about how gold is purified, not through gentle polishing, but through intense fire that separates the precious metal from everything else. Diamonds form under extreme pressure. The most profound personal growth rarely happens in comfortable social settings. Your experience of loneliness isn't Allah abandoning you. It's Allah purifying you. He doesn't put through the fire what He doesn't value highly. So how do we transform this isolation into inspiration? I've developed a framework I call C.O.N.N.E.C.T. First, calibrate your expectations. This loneliness isn't a detour from your spiritual journey, it's part of it. The Prophet said, Islam began as something strange and will return to being strange, so give glad tidings to the strangers. Second, own your transformation. Stop apologizing for the changes in your life. You're not being extreme, you're being authentic to your evolving understanding. Third, nurture new connections intentionally. The depth of friendship that took years to build with old friends won't happen overnight with new ones. Be patient, be consistent. Fourth, navigate family dynamics with wisdom. Family relationships often bear the heaviest strain from your changes. The Prophet taught us to maintain family ties even when difficult. Fifth, embrace the in-between. You're in a spiritual borderland, no longer fully at home in your old life, not yet fully integrated into your new one. This liminal space feels uncomfortable but is incredibly fertile for growth. Sixth, channel your loneliness into service. When you're focused on serving others, your own isolation becomes less consuming. The Prophet taught that the cure for personal pain often lies in alleviating someone else's. Finally, trust the process. This phase of intense loneliness is temporary for most people, a transition, not a destination. The question isn't whether you'll face isolation on this path, you will. The question is, will you continue seeing your loneliness as evidence that you've made a mistake? Or will you recognize it as confirmation you're on the right path? Will you retreat back to comfortable but spiritually compromising connections? Or will you press forward toward authentic community? Will you let temporary isolation derail your eternal purpose? Every time you choose Allah over social acceptance, you're not just enduring loneliness, you're investing in your hereafter. You're following the footsteps of every prophet who stood firm when standing alone. You're becoming who Allah created you to be. There are nights I still struggle with loneliness, moments I still question if the isolation is worth it. But I stay the course because I know now that this temporary disconnection from people isn't separating me from my purpose. It's preparing me for it. If this message resonated with you, remember, the path to Jannah was never meant to be easy, but with Allah's help, it will always be worth it. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.